Challenge runs, also known as thinly veiled masochism. I personally love doing challenge runs in the games that I like beating Bloodborne with only the stake driver R2, or beating Skyrim without abusing the hell out of its many bugs. Yeah, challenges kind of suck, but that's what makes it a challenge, and ultimately why they feel so gratifying once you beat them. From Software games are among the best for cooking up a fun challenge, and my favorite out of them, for imposing stupid rules like this, is Dark Souls. My favorite flavor of Dark Soul challenge run is every enemy is X. From the classic all Gwyn run to the postmodern all Manus run. It's pure Kino. This is where I come in, uninvited, and thought, what if I did this with the biggest enemy in the game though? I present to you Dark Souls, but every enemy is Ceaseless Discharge. I picked Deprived because who gives a fuck? Just to make it interesting, I'm going to level Strength only, and I won't pick the Master Key because, clearly, my walls don't have enough writing on them. Right away, I'm presented with the main antagonist of this run, the visual diarrhea covering my screen everywhere I go. I leave my cell and walk by the nondescript masses of flesh that have taken hold of the asylum. Already, I'm faced with another constant problem, which is Dr. Discharge blocking me every chance he gets. After tickling what I think is his ankle for about 10 minutes, I realize that he hasn't moved, which means he's in his idle pose. A little quirk of the idle pose in this game is that a jumping attack breaks it for some reason. I think Illusory Wall has a video talking about how it works. Sure enough, Big Boy wakes up and lets me pass. This mechanic will come in handy throughout the entire run. I don't even know which one is the Asylumless Demon Charge, but it's probably the guy stuck on the roof. I'll have to go around into the fog wall instead. I pick up my advanced weaponry and ring Oscar's bell. This is pretty fucked, so I'll just ignore this and enter the fog. Never mind, door's stuck, probably due to the sheer quantity of hitboxes pummeling everything in the vicinity. The Miyazaki-approved all-feet run has already been set in motion, but I have no time for frivolous games. I chew on some toes for a bit, but I get bored and try the other doors to see if I can get into the arena another way. But no cigar. With no other option, I just flail until one of them dies. Another Ceaseless takes his place, but he's noticeably lower than the others. Surely, this is the Asylumless Demon Charge. I beat his meat for a while until he blows, granting me passage into the land of loads. Immediately, the earth shakes under my feet, and I turn to see the aqueduct discharges merging themselves into a ball. The Firelink bonfire is already locked, which is great. I don't think I use it a single time throughout this entire playthrough. I politely shuffle by the writhing chasm of feet, but they're not having it, so I get tossed. I try New Londo, where I'm greeted by the primordial earth, populated by archless tree charges. It's cold down here, so I warm myself between some toes before pocketing the free Firekeeper's soul. Actually no, my game crashes. I try again, but I walk off the edge like an idiot. I tell Rickard he's chill in the hopes of upgrading my stick, but he doesn't sell shards, so I ghost him. Turns out that going up the elevator also crashes my game, so I'll just go fuck myself then. I try the graveyard, where the serenity of my little stroll is interrupted by the Ceaselesses waking up, shattering the sound barrier with each clap of their mighty cheeks. I go to the Firelink smoke spot and grab some shit in preparation of the aqueduct. I somehow make it up to the stairs, but the Council of Flesh activates their booby trap. When Ceaseless walks, his feet sweep you around, and when he does this on a perilous walkway, well, the entire map becomes a Sen's Fortress axe trap. I say fuck it, but get flung, barely making it, twice. I retreat, but fail to come up with anything smart, so I just say fuck it again. Fortune favors the bold, it seems. Undead Berg is in a bad way. My eardrums rupture, but I push forward onto the Berg. I don't even know. That Ceaseless you see phasing in and out of reality is actually vibrating violently back and forth, and getting too close will reduce me to atoms, as you will see. For some reason, the bonfire is available, but I'm not complaining. I successfully do the Black Knight skip and have a relatively painless stroll to the Taurus charge. The Crossbow Hollows go on strike and merge with their union leader. Just to go on a small tangent while I flail around, every single enemy AI in this run is programmed to path towards a fog wall, even in areas with seemingly none nearby. It isn't the closest fog wall either. or the one with the easiest path. It seems to be mostly random. In a boss fight, however, there are usually 1 or 2 portals, so you can guarantee that they will just walk into them the entire fight. I suspect that this is due to his vanilla fight being coded so that he walks toward his own fog wall. 1 metric lifetime later, and I reach the bridge. I accidentally brush against an invisible Ceaseless, but he only gives me a warning since I'm a good kid. I talk to Solaire and approach the bridge. It gives me no grief, except the sunlight altar is locked, but that's not too bad since I have a shortcut. Another ethereal being prevents my access to the Black Knight Greatsword, so I just weasel my way through to the parish. Andre is a sight for sore eyes, literally, since he isn't bright orange or an optical disaster. It isn't much improvement, but a +5 club is better than nothing. Actually, it's still shit. I think I'll go get the log. Still traumatized by the game crashing, I don't go near the red tearstone ring, just in case I'm reprimanded. It's at this point that the constant screen shake, low poly feet, and bright orange are getting to me, in the form of retinal tearing and delirium. I make it into the back end of Blighttown, but Ceaseless is about to make it into the back end of me. I try to get the key to New Londo, but the invisible Ceaseless rips through time and space to cockblock me. I don't heed his second warning. He grabs hold of reality, pulling me into the air and dashing my hopes and dreams all over the swamp. Lovely. On the way back to Andre, one of the goobers decides he wants to turn one of his tentacles into a trebuchet. He swings me at Mach 3 into the basin below, twice.
Fly, you fools!
It's at this point that I'm beginning to regret doing this run. Back at the parish, I decide I'll just do the gargoyles, without decent damage. Already, my eustachian tubes start filling with blood, as the Sunday communion synchronizes their cheek claps to deter me from going upstairs. Some years later, I make it through the fleshy hallway and up to the gargoyles. The bell tower has been transformed into a totem pole of rushed development. The first Garg makes his way to the fog door, and makes it as awkward as possible for me to smack his ankles. When this doesn't work, he calls his friend over, and they combine their latent psychic energy to fuck with my camera. That doesn't work either. The remaining charge goyle stands no chance. The first bell is rung, and finally I feel like I've done something. Feeling silly, I start a forest fire, bone back, and dump every soul into strength. The forest is no hassle at all. Conversely, the Moonless Butter Charge activates his ability of foresight, and input reads every single attack. Like, what the fuck do I do? I will never complain about Elden Ring again. One extremely annoying fight later, and it's time to tackle Sif Charge, because why the fuck not? I'm here anyway. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. The cutscene, fucked textures aside, looks pretty sick actually. Sif Charge doesn't take compliments well though, so she gets stage fright and tries to leave. Time for cheese. On the way back, I'm fooled by an intangible discharge and fall to my doom. Of all the ceaseless subtypes, honestly, this one is fine, because they block the active models with collision. It's time to go ring the second bell. I don't really feel like going through the parish though to get to Lower Undead Burg, so I go the super secret route. The invisible ceaseless materializes and fucks me into a pit. But otherwise, the journey to Capra Charge is just breezy. I'm hit with a Miyazaki-approved jump scare and clamber my way through the churning mass of meat into the Capra Charge fight. Of course, they amalgamate and make it harder to find the real boss. After some dilly-dallying, I zero in on his left foot through process of elimination. I open the Firelink shortcut, which is honestly completely useless right now, but it felt better than just raw-dogging in the depths. The female undead merchant somehow died, probably due to a tentacle slam or a fart blast. Not that it really matters, it's just weird. 2 ceaselesses line up for me to slap each of their rock-hard cheeks. The ceaselesses are quietly enjoying their brunch, so I don't disturb them, lest I be granted divine retribution. I save Laurentius because at some point I want to use Power Within, just to expedite an already tedious process. I crash the pool party and the host is pissed. He thrashes me around but I escape. Large Ember acquired, slide, slidden, shortcut unfortunately permalocked because the surprise box discharge crashes my game. Sweet. For a blissful few seconds my ears stop ringing, but then I load the game back up and have to hold back tears. Gaping Discharge thinks I'm not worth his time. That's fine. I won't take it personally. One day. I'll be worth his time. One cheese later, and it's over. For some reason, you can buy Donald's armor set infinitely, so obviously I buy 20 of his helmets, because it's funny. Down some ladders are about 1 zillion swinging axes, begging for my pitfall. But there's nothing a little clenching can't fix. Upper Blighttown is a fucking mess. I don't really want to brave the bubbling monstrosity of flesh on the normal route, so I see what the shortcut is like. I can just barely smack this Ceaseless and eventually he dies, revealing another Ceaseless, like a nesting doll. His balls are blocking my way, but I say fuck it, and jump, and miss. Somehow I make it underneath him, and capture a checkpoint for myself. I take a small break to clean the spinal fluid that's been leaking out of my ears and assess the situation. After coming to no conclusions whatsoever, I gun it and get flung off immediately. On the next try, I somehow make it to power within, but I get a colonoscopy free of charge instead. For some reason, Ceaseless aggroes onto other Ceaselesses whenever there is a platform about halfway up his body, and they tend to kill each other with me as collateral. I nab power within on the third go around and continue down the path of pain. With sheer luck, I clip through the scaffolding and make it down. I deeply regret resting at that bonfire, by the way. Finally, the Great Club blesses me with its holy presence, and I can at long last do decent damage with the strength scaling. The view down here is mesmerizing. All the mosquitoes are synced up and walking toward the exit to the Valley of Drakes. Ceaslag reveals her incomprehensible vortex to stun me, but wastes the opportunity, getting lost and then stuck in her eggs. I don't know why, but every Ceaseless in this area and Demon Ruins has fire juice coming from their feet. It doesn't do anything besides hurt me in real life. I shoot my shot, miss, and make it to the progenitor of the sauce, the OG. For some fucking reason, his roommate is home and squashes me. Twice. I break his ankles as punishment. You tell me why, but the real Ceaseless got out of the tub and fights his inner demons while I nibble at his toes. And the cheese I find in there is simply delectable.
Cheese.
The once mesmerizing view of Blighttown now comes back to bite down on my ass. They now block the exit elevator, but I can just kill them, right? Think again. They are mostly the mosquitoes, and they respawn. They may not be infinite, but I forgot to buy repair powder, and my club will break before it stops, and I need to rest to repair it, thus resetting the respawn counter. I tried to kill 1 or 2 and make a mad dash, but it just isn't enough, and I have to change plans. Yeah, the only way out for me is the way I came, the way that is originally filled to the brim with regular enemies, now turned into planet-sized typhoons of kinetic energy. The lowest ramp is already clogged, so I spend roughly an eon bashing their metatarsals until the way is cleared of hazards. This entire area is a perilous boardwalk, and every square nanometer is afflicted by this homunculus's collision. Another eon, and I make it up some ladders. Basically, every platform is packed full of feet that need clobbering. I have to wait for them to be in reach though, and pray that they aren't phasing through walls, because who gives a fuck anymore. Hair thinning, I reach Upper Blighttown, where there are even more legs sweeping the area. If I get complacent for even a second, I fall to my demise, ruining a 30-minute attempt at escaping Fucktown. Leg cleared, time for some feet. For some reason, his toes don't have a hurt box, but have some collision, so I have to risk being thrashed if I don't want to miss every swing. Finally, one dies and makes room for me to scooch past and get a better angle on the other. The buttress is mostly clear now, and it's just one more corner to the bonfire. Just to note, I am 40 minutes deep into this attempt now, and will have to retry all of this shit if I fuck up now. Some cheddar later, and the corner is open. At this point, I was just desperate and gun it. I breathe a sigh of relief, but it isn't over. I still need to make it back up to the depths, and all the way back out to the surface, from this bonfire. I'm going to be honest, until this moment I had never tried to escape Blighttown by going the wrong way. Couple that with a gameplay simulation of a brain hemorrhage, and you have a very lost and very scared little undead. I fuck around a bit, since the bonfire is right there, and yeah, it leads to my death. What do you want from me? Changing absolutely nothing about my approach, eventually I locate the exit walkway. I desperately cling to the boards as the gigantic feet try to knock me off, but my large IQ strategies are too much for the old god. Up through the depths isn't too bad until I come uninvited to the pool party again and receive divine rapture. The once relaxed residents consume me and trap me between their massive and rock-hard thighs, threatening to pop my head like a balloon. The ceaselesses ceaselessly seize the faculties of my camera, and honestly I felt a little sick at this point. Some spinning later I'm no closer, so I turn my brain on, and kill some to relieve the stress on my GPU. I sprint up the stairs and my game crashed again. Some more cheeks threaten to obliterate me, but smacking them seems to make Ceaseless shy and disappear. Somehow I make it down the aqueduct stairs and don't rest at Firelink because it's still locked, and set sail from my next stop, Sen's Fortress. I give Andre my big ember but have no large shards to ascend it. I was really dreading Sen's Fortress, because every single other level has already been playing out like Sen's Fortress. Avoiding the axe blades and boulders is easy, but now there are random collision boxes and swinging legs, and due to the verticality, the possibility of being smushed by his tentacles. What I have to look forward to is a Sen's Fortress within Sen's Fortress. In preparation of that, I hit up Laurentius and maxed out my Pyromancy Flame. I know it doesn't affect power within, but I was planning on using Fire Tempest or Chaos Storm, both of which I end up never using, and honestly, what the fuck else am I using the souls for? I reached 99 strength a long time ago and have put the rest into resistance, the best stat. Sigmire is still outside but has the balls dialogue for some reason. I'd say he lost his shit because of what he experienced in the fortress. Immediately it's off to a bad start as my camera has flipped and I'm knocked into the goon pit. I make a clean escape, but I get assaulted by innumerable tentacles that toss me back down the ladder. On my second try, I notice that the axes actually do damage. It doesn't do very much, so I go take a shit so I can pretend that I actually value my time. One ceaseless discharge later, in real life this time, all the enemies have perished and I can jog to the large Titanite, phasing through an intangible discharge on the way. He fucks my vision and nearly gets me killed, but I make it back safely to Andre and ascend my club. Back at Sen's, I plow my way through a meaty door and grab the Ring of Steel Protection, which I pretty much never get around to using. At the last walkway, my fears are once again confirmed as the entire length of it has swollen orange feet blocking my path. To make it worse, the way they were positioned made it nearly impossible to successfully land a hit within safety. I equip the Grass Crest and attempt to land some hits. Light attacks seem to bounce off the door, so I spam heavies for a while. Then I accidentally hit a jump attack. I'm giggling and kicking my feet with joy. On my third try, I employ the previous strategy of going AFK to let the axes do the heavy lifting while I wait. Back to where I died, I find a spot that lets me do damage, which I know by seeing if my attack animation lags or not, but I can't reach the last one and just fly across instead. Another brilliant use of my very large brain. The noise attacking my ears is alleviated a bit now that I'm out in the open. Time to use my new Toei. Power within. I wait for the Ironless Golem charge to be drawn to the fog wall and wail on him. The damage is bigly, and I kill him in only a few hits. The somber dusk of Anor Londo is complemented by the abrasive neon orange of multiple ceaselesses careening toward me. None of them are a threat, however, since I can't be knocked off. Yet. The trek is uneventful until the rafters, another area I was dreading, because I was scared that the enemies on the ground floor would reach the rafters up top. After being mopped the first time, I learned that while there are enemies downstairs, they are intangible for some reason, and allow me to travel safely. Just a side note, but I had no idea until recording this that you can see into the bonfire room with Solaire. Pretty cool. I do the stairs skip and have a lovely stroll to the boss room of the Dragonless Sea Slayer and Executionless Smarge. I rev up and go to town, but so does Smarge. Because Orangearge got himself stuck inside a platform that was roughly mid-height, and was in the LOS of Smarge, he started taking backshots to the nth degree. Sensing this injustice, I cream Smarge before he can finish the job. I then returned the favor to Orangearge by slapping him around too. I wanted to kill Guinevere here, but didn't have anything I could use. No bows or projectiles at all, besides Lloyd's talismans. However, using those lit her up in an interesting way. At long last though, I can warp. Feeling cocky, I try to kill Lautrec for the Fap Ring and the Firekeeper's soul. I get my shit rocked and give up. The giant blacksmith sells me infinite large titanite shards with which to max out the club. I can't get the big ember because my game will just die, so this is the best I can get for now. Gwyn Discharge is next on my hit list, but I need the Dark Moon Seance Ring to open the statue. That or find a projectile of some kind to kill Guinevere. I'll be for real. Right here I didn't remember either of these and was about to be met with no entry to the fight. That being said, the winds of fortune must have heard my bowel movements because Ceaseless Discharge busts prematurely, with me having never opened this statue. How or why I don't know or care. I go back to New Lando to see if I can do anything about the constant crashing because I really want that ember. First, I try normal and it packs up. Next, I wake up all the Ceaselesses and they attempt a convergence event. I whack them all, hoping to help the game render the next area. 10 minutes later, I move up and roll off the side. I might chew on rocks in real life. Repeat the last try, this time without falling off like an idiot. It crashes again. I felt like there was nothing I could do. I looked up ways to avoid the game crashing in the ruins, but none would work. Then I came across a strategy that involves walking slowly and looking at the ground to prevent sudden loading. Equipped with a shiny new idea under my loincloth, I deploy the technique. It crashed anyway. I really had no other choice but to unrandomize, open the floodgates, and randomize again. So I leave that for a later point in time, in case it happens in the future. Since it's right beside Firelink, I decide the catacombs are next. I'm nearly sent off the edge by a rogue leg, but make it to the first bonfire in whopping progress. If only the rest of the area could be so quick. The next corner is blockaded by a wall of muscle. Beyond that wall greets me an inconceivable amount of enemies in a tiny area, which was almost purely vertical. You know what that entails. I break past and do the bridge skip down to the bone wheel area, which for once is the least hectic part of the catacombs. Pinwheel for some reason didn't randomize but summoned Ceaselesses instead. I think this is because of the Pinwheel Chaos config option in the randomizer. I beat him easily and march into the tomb. I slip and fall to my death instantaneously. I don't know why it keeps happening, but I suspect I have sustained a TBI from this run. Surely that was just a fluke, right? Right? I make the bridge skip again, but get discharged into the bone wheel pit. Next try, I make it back into the tomb. Not slipping this time. I tiptoe my way over to the Richter scale level 10 disaster emanating from the heart of the tomb. A grotesque shape beckons me from the darkness, and I spend an age flattening it. I sneak along the bony path, but end up binning it right by the bonfire. A sense of doom fills my chest as I battle the camera to make another attempt at this stroke of an area. I skip the bridge again, only to be bounced off by a Ceaseless approaching warp speed. Fuck the bridge skip, I'll just get Vamos's bonfire as a checkpoint. In my mind, going the long way around to get to Vamos didn't seem that hard, only tedious. I crush some invisible feet and flip the bridge. For some fucking reason, the explosive heads aren't randomized, and one of them slaps my ass and gets me swiped into the pit. Past the invisible feet again, I get to the now flipped bridge. The only option is to kill the feet. After enough time to measure entropy, I randomly get shoved to the other side. I have no idea how I did that, but I get to Valmos's pit anyway. Much to my joy, I immediately screw it up. At this point, I'm ready to bite my own tongue until it comes off. I tried to go the other way to get to Vamos to see if it's quicker, but I only waste my time as I battle the constant camera flipping and thrashing. After all of that, I end up at the beginning of the level. I just do the bridge skip and make it to the tomb again. I get the world record for falling off as fast as possible. The next try, I just fall off the first part. I am this close to plucking my eyes out. Eventually, we are back in the tomb, where I come across the flesh. I try to land on an item to hopefully find a path around, but end up traversing unknown perils and somehow land safely. I slog through some more tentacles after having stuffed tissues into my nose to stop my brain from leaking out. Slowly, I eke my way around, getting on my hands and knees and begging for a chance at getting to the bonfire. Holy shit. Of course, I forgot to place the Lord Vessel to lower the piss wall, so small detour. Back at the Tumba, the second half is nowhere near as bad as the previous bit, and I make my way past Ash Lake and into another dreaded section. As you may already know, the baby skeletons in here infinitely respawn. I'm not worried about dying though. I'm worried that the sheer number of ceaselesses will prevent me from progressing, and killing them won't do much good if they just come right back. Thankfully, they allow my entry, brushing their sacks on my tiny bald head as I go. Just as one thing goes my way, so too does the opposite happen right after. Somehow the fog door is blocked, like it was back at the asylum. That means that one of the Ceaselesses is stuck somewhere near the fog door, and won't let me through until I kill him. I try bashing at the fog door, but my animation doesn't lag, meaning there is no hurt box. I try quitting and reloading to reset all of their positions to no avail. I kill some of the surrounding pinwheel charges, but that doesn't work either. There's a cave beside the arena that could allow a better angle to kill the Ceaselesses within, but no dice. That's when I notice there's a fire emanating from the floor, meaning that a baby skeleton charge fucked up its spawn and is stuck somewhere under the earth. Unfortunately, I can't reach it, and it doesn't even seem to be the one affecting the fog wall. Desperate, I bone back, in the hopes of changing something about the spawns. This ends up changing nothing about my predicament. Then I realized the issue. The replacement for Nito is partially loaded into the arena, but is intangible until I enter the fight, meaning I can't collide or do damage until I get through the fog. But I can't get through the fog because the entrance is bugged. It sucks, but I'll have to reload the randomizer for Nito too. It's not like it would be different anyway, I mean there'll just be skeletons this time. That said, there are still other Lord Souls that need clapping. I decide that the Ceaseless Discharge is next on my agenda, for no particular reason. I warp to Anorlando and get rejected. I don't take it well and carry on to the archives. The armored boars are no match for my evasive tactics, but they locked the bonfire, which I don't even bother trying to get because for all I know, I would have to kill every single enemy upstairs. The lower archives are fucky, but completely scalable, and after some light traversal, I go say hi to regular Seath. I battle his roommate in one-on-one battle, and it isn't even close. The female undead merchant got decimated earlier, so I didn't have the chance to get purging stones. So to that end, I power up to slowly kill me, but before that even matters, I get zapped. The prison guard is normal for some reason, but what isn't normal is the monstrosity that gets set loose onto my screen. I barely make it out of my cell before I am assaulted by polygons and neon orange, preventing me from being able to see, think, or move. I rip my cord and get to chopping, and make my way to the door key. Of course it's blocked by idle discharges, so sometime later I acquire my return ticket. Everyone decides that the latter is exactly where they wanted to combine their biomass, and I get vibrated right into oblivion. It's at this point in the game that a lot of areas have a lot of enemies that clump into one single position and become a nucleus of pixelated garbage. I try again, but yeah, I'm gonna have to kneecap all of them to escape. A little older now, I'm finally free to frolic in the upper archives. The upper archives now have the awesome result of the enemies on the bottom floors being mixed with the enemies on the top floors, ensuring that my corneas don't even get a second of reprieve. Thankfully, some intangible Ceaselesses allow me to flip the stairs. Hemorrhaging from every orifice and pore in my body isn't enough to stop me, even these invisible cunts, and I open the shortcut. This is mostly, if not entirely, in case I slip off the crystals like an idiot. A disembodied tentacle threatens to atomize me, but only succeeds in tossing me off the ladder as a cheap scare tactic. This one fucking guy thinks that the best place to set up an axe trap was on the invisible platform, but I just waddle past it. Ceaseless Discharge succumbs to my gigantic brain, and I finally get my Lord Soul. Only 3 more to go. Obviously, the next area is the Demon Ruins. Having already ceased the discharge, it's a doddle getting to the Fire Sage. All the enemies in this area are connected to the Hive Mind, so they are aware that filling my screen with nuke-colored vomit was an effective tactic that causes me to take tick damage in real life. The Worm Charge gives me the bonfire, and I rush past the battalion of feet before my retinas burn off. Sage Charge gets smeared. I was scared that the Senta Charge would be drawn to the exit portal and fuck everything, since I have nowhere near enough HP to survive crossing the lava. And even if I got near him, I thought he would swipe me into a fiery death. Praise be, he did neither of these things. Ceaseless might be the only area in the game that received a visual improvement over the base game. The splashing from the Ceaseless's feet make it look more authentic, and he actually fits snugly into the dome. With no real issue besides the witch nearly doming me, I make it to the bed of chaos. I never thought I'd be glad to be in this arena, but it was spacious and quiet, and the tree couldn't do anything while I creamed her bodyguard. Before I clean up the base game, it's time I prepare for the DLC. I normally need to kill the Hydra and then reload to kill the Golden Golem. I don't know why, but every Ceaseless gets lost in the sauce by the ladder for some reason. And I have no idea which is which. I power up and take some lunch money, eventually killing the right one. Reloading spawns the Goldless Golem charge, who immediately joins the others and loses himself in the circle jerk. Dusk only spawns in the cave, so I have to kill all of them this time. Sick. Centuries pass, but Dusk is finally freed. I never got the Archives bonfire, so I jogged there from Anno Londo. I didn't notice it until just now, but shouldn't it be dark? Wind Discharge is dead. I didn't tackle this mess the first time, since I didn't need to, but there are so many fucking enemies and they are all attacking each other and my ears would just like to have a break. In the melee, the right one dies and emails me the broken pendant. Whatever, I'll take it. Before heading off to the DLC, I clean up. I go back to the Asloom for the Ceaseless Discharge, who doesn't drop a Titanite slab. The peculiar doll is still here though, and in no time at all I'm in the painting. This level may not be super vertical, but there are a ridiculous amount of enemies crammed into this tiny castle. The first set of stairs already present a challenge. A vibrating Ceaseless keeps bouncing me away. I kill him and bravely run past all the feet and into the meat. I don't know what the fuck is happening in here, but the conglomeration of flesh is desperately trying to pry the building apart. I wreak havoc and squirm through the digestive tract. They relentlessly spin my camera, but I escape anyway. There is no fucking way I'm beating this area legitimately in my lifetime, so I go to the Dragon Bridge to hopefully wake up the idle Ceaseless. The bridge duo wail in agony as they prepare their imaginary technique, hollow discharge, and turn my camera into a particle accelerator. Some struggling later and they announce that I passed their test of fortitude and may see their foot queen. The Miyazaki-approved Priscilla model does not disappoint. With nothing left to do in the base game, it's time for the DLC. The Guardian fight shouldn't have been very notable, but this bitch broke my club, and made it nearly impossible to get a hit in edgewise due to the arena's shape. I say hi to Liz and walk through the woods with relative ease. Ceaseless makes it way too easy to be subdued. Township, for once, is easily traversable, due to everyone dolphin diving into the abyss below. 2 vagrants check me in at the hotel, but the other patrons are too busy orgying to notice me trying to get past their gigantic cheeks. I didn't randomize the mimics because I need the crest key to chat with Goff and kill Calamite. So no, this isn't an alt Ceaseless run. Fuck you. I really expected there to be a hulking, frothing beast on this elevator, but as you can see, he got stuck somewhere below the map. Instantly, my computer's fans were into life as dozens upon dozens of tentacle monsters fall into the abyss, granting me an insane amount of souls, which I stuffed into resistance, of course. The cutscene from Manus Charge looks really cool. You know what? I think I'll draw that image as the thumbnail for this video. He's drawn to the cliff at the entrance and starts smacking his friends, making for probably the easiest fight so far in the run. Calamite rudely burns my ass, so I do the honorable thing and get someone else to shoot him down for me. I have no idea who this other guy is, but he seems to have loaded in from the forest above. He's chill, so we'll leave him be. With the enemies back to normal, I open the floodgates and release the thousands of years of discharge that built up and tragically drowned the residents of New Londo. I felt like maybe I could approach from this angle without my PC crashing, so I do Nito first. I kindle the nearest bonfire purely because the run might require a lot of healing. I also create a divine club because fuck those skeletons. Nito catches me with his gooch grabbing attack, but because I've leveled resistance as a joke, I don't get toxicked. Nito kneels to my superior build, and I'm ready for the last Lord Soul. I randomized the game again, confident that my computer would not crash from this angle. For some reason, I have to uninstall the game every time I reload the normal enemies, and I really don't want to do that again. I cross the bridge and clench my cheeks. Sweet, it doesn't crash from this angle. I could have just gone and gotten the red Tearstone ring way back when, and nothing would have happened. God damn it. Even though it looks whack, getting through the ruins isn't that bad. I don't bother with the elevator shortcut because my game can't handle that. I move some tentacles aside and pick up the really big ember, just for the final fight. I killed some wraith charges in the hopes of getting chunks, but no luck. Looks like I won't be able to use this slab because the chunks that are usually guaranteed from giants can only drop. And I am not going back to Undead Berg for those Black Knight chunks. Perplexing arena aside, there are only 3 kings and only one of them takes damage. The other 2 are now intangible, having become enlightened after countless millennia of constant loads. These tentacles take damage though. I top up the club a bit because why not? Right here's where I realized I forgot to pick up the red tearstone ring, probably due to the CTE kicking in. But I was ready to finish the run and give my brain a rest. Gwynless, Lord of Discharge, cowers before my might. 700 damage per hit is just so juicy. Could have been juicier, but whatever, man. 6 hits is more than enough to fell the foul beast. And the discharge that once was afflicting this land has finally ceased. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this, I do appreciate it. This is my first time making a video like this, but it's pretty fun. I might make more. See ya.